Hey, what's going on, guys? We are currently on our way back from PAX East right now. Just left. I'm sitting in an airport, actually, going to try and give you guys an update on where we stand with Farm Sim 23, all the new information we've received, all the new things we've kind of learned over the last couple of days here. So let me get through my notes on this, and it's been an interesting trip, that's for sure. Let's get to work on this, shall we? PAX East has been a good time. It's time to get going home, though. Alright guys, Farm Sim 23, where do we start? Of course, what we saw was the beta build still. As my understanding, we are not allowed to show any content from the game yet. It's still in development. The last couple months here is the final push, so unfortunately we weren't allowed to show anything, but I can tell you exactly what we saw and what we know up to this point. Now, like I said, it was still in the build process, so there's always chances what we're saying right now could change. I think for the most part, though, we are ready to go. Now, number one, this is for iOS, this is for Android, this is for Nintendo Switch, coming May 23rd. So you've got a little less than 2 months before this game is being released for these platforms. Now, you're getting two maps. You're getting Amberstone, you're getting New Brun. This is all stuff we know. Both look really good. Now, one of the big differences, actually, Amberstone is currently the only, or the version we saw was the only one that had a tutorial on it. So, tutorial on Amberstone, no tutorial that was on New Brun, which is interesting. Now, also, New Brun, flat. Very flat. Very open by comparison. There was lots of trees on both maps, but New Brun seemed much more flat than what I was expecting. Amberstone was a little bit hillier than I was expecting, so take that for what it's worth. Now, both maps are reminiscent, of course, of everything for Farm Sim 23, but more on that in a little bit. Now, equipment, I know everyone's always asking about equipment. That is in flux. We're not going to talk much about that. If you guys want to keep up on what's going on with equipment, go check out the Farming Simulator website. They are very good at keeping that up to date. And of course, that's going to be in flux right up to the end. We're going to talk more about equipment though before we go on. Now, interestingly enough, the loading screen, it's the same as Farm Sim 22. In fact, the menus and everything in the game, it looks very similar to Farming Simulator 22, guys. There is so many similarities. And that's going to be one of the thoughts we're going to come back to a little later on when we kind of wrap this all up. But man, there is a lot that is similar to the mobile version and the full version from Farm Sim 22 to 23. I'm telling you right now, if you've played Farm Sim 22, you're going to know what to expect. All right. Now, one thing as well, seasons are going to be involved. We did see that there was seasonal cycles coming into the mobile game this time, so that is all new. That's something completely different. Haven't seen that happen. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see any of accumulation of snow. Just luck of the draw, maybe going through winter and not getting it. Tough to say there, but did not see any accumulation of snow on our playthrough. Now, one thing I was somewhat excited about seeing, actually, is the ability to walk around now. So we can physically get out of our equipment, walk around. I don't believe that was. Someone quote me if I'm wrong. I don't think you can just walk around in Farm Sim 20. Anyways, Farming Simulator 22 or 23, sorry. We were able to walk around and jump as well and get in and out of our equipment that way instead of just cycling through everything, which is very cool. Now, let's talk about coins. There are gold coins that are back again. And previously, these gold coins were just used in order to cheat in money, essentially. So if you wanted to be able to start your farm with a lot more money than you would in the base game, now you would just you'd buy $1 worth of coins, and you'd get a whole bunch more free money in game. It was a pay for cheat system, essentially. Now it looks like that's back. However, there's one caveat to this, and we'll see if I can describe this right. The Nintendo version, of course, is substantially more expensive. It's almost 4 times more expensive, but you're getting 130 pieces of equipment, 130 plus, like 134 pieces of equipment with the game, and the Nintendo Switch version. Now, the iOS version, you're only going to get 100-ish, 100 plus pieces of equipment. Now, what's the difference going to be is that, well, you can use those coins that you purchase to go then and buy individual pieces of equipment, kind of like a DLC, not really a DLC, but kind of. You can buy just individual pieces of equipment for $1 here, $1 there, so very like microtransaction-y in that sense. But it will also allow you to free up space on devices that maybe don't have the space for it, so you're not getting this whole plethora. I did say plethora of equipment. You're only getting pieces here, pieces there, and if you don't want to use them, you don't have to buy them, of course. But if you wanted to, you pay them with a gold coin, then it allows you to buy them in game. Now, is that a little bit of a change? Yeah, we haven't seen that before. And what does that mean for future DLCs? I have no idea. But that's something that's definitely mentionable for sure. So just note that the Switch version and the iOS version are going to be completely different in that sense. Just the amount of equipment comes. I think the graphics would be similar. We'll see. I mean, we haven't played the Switch version, so I can't say for sure. We were playing on the iOS version on a relatively newer, I believe it's a current gen iPad, and the graphical fidelity was top notch, to be perfectly honest. For a mobile game, it would be hard pressed to tell the difference between that and the full-fledged version. So some things that, of course, are being mentioned that we need to talk about, of course, production chains in the mobile version. That is now a thing. You're getting production chains in your Farm Sim 23 mobile version now. And I mean, that's something that's been pushed very heavily, of course, in Farm Sim 22. So you're seeing that now in the mobile version as well. However, there's no build mode that we saw, at least. Current version, and I can't see it happening, but there was no build mode, unfortunately. So you can't build your own farm, at least right now. I haven't seen them mention anything about this, and maybe this is something that's in the works. But at this point in time, there is zero build mode, so unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be stuck with the farms that they come with. Unfortunately, I think that would be something to really push into the mobile version. I'm not sure how that would work using a touch system, but anyways, I would love to see a build system brought into it. It's one of my favorite parts of Farm Sim. Unfortunately, currently, it didn't look like we had it in there. Also, something else that's been reworked, workers seem like they are better in Farm Sim 23 as far as their capabilities go. They are similar to 22, where they can drive across the map, they can work your fields. Most of the fields we saw, I think, were all square fields. Each map had roughly 20 fields, so you could work multiple fields at once now with workers as well. Also, interesting thing we noted was that we're not able to sell fields. I'm not sure if that's going to stay the same or not. Now, that's pretty much it for the new things that we needed to talk about. As far as I know, you guys are going to be asking about, well, is it feel like anything? How good is it? I mean, the screenshots look good. Is it that? And I'm like, yes, everything looks great. The driving mechanics, of course, if you're using the tilt steering on your mobile device, it actually feels really good. And I mean, if you've played the previous version, it had a little bit of that as well. But your whole screen does tilt and keeps everything level as you're steering still, and I really do enjoy it. I think it's a very satisfying way to drive your equipment in Farm Sim 2023. Now, the other thing we do need to quickly to discuss on this is the menu system. Like, if you've played Farm Sim 22 at all, you are going to know exactly what to do. Everything feels and looks very similar in a lot of different ways, in all the right ways, to be perfectly honest. If you look through the menu system, and this is one of the things I kept on mentioning, I look at the menu system and I know exactly what to expect when I go into this menu. It's very familiar. It is very close to Farming Simulator 22 in those aspects. I can look at the menu and be like, oh, productions, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to see here. Oh, look at this, I've got my productions in, my productions out. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, look at the weather. I know exactly what the weather screen is going to look like and show. Even the shop, the buying screens, they all look very similar as well. So, you know what, guys? I think you're going to be happy with this. If you are looking for more Farm Sim and you want it more in a compact version, a mobile version, this is really going to hit the spot, I think, for a lot of you guys. So guys, that is going to do it for our content here at PAX. Thanks for watching. Hopefully being in the airport wasn't too distracting. Of course, thanks to Giants for letting us get a chance to preview the new Farm Sim 23 mobile version. Man, that was awesome. And also huge shout out to all the other Farm Sim nerds that we were hanging out with over the last few days. It's been too much. There's been so many of you guys that had a chance to meet on this trip, and it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. And then those guys that just happened to stop by the booth and said hi. Good to see you guys. I mean, kind of mind-blowing sometimes at these events. Anyways, cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out for the last couple of days. And of course, as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you are new around here. Go hit the button down below so you don't miss a new video, and we will see you guys in the next one. I'm going home. See you guys. I'm out of here.